Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In the heart of Los Angeles, where beauty and sadness entwined like threads in a carefully woven tapestry, the Forrester, Spencer, and Sharp families became engaged in a catastrophe that would forever change their lives. Luna, a lively young woman whose enthusiasm used to light up the rooms at Forrester Creations, had died tragically. Her death in the harsh, sterile confines of a prison cell shook the city's elite, leaving a gap filled with questions, grief, and a newborn child who would become the focus of a bitter custody fight. Luna's life had been full of passion and ambition. She arrived at Forrester Creations as an intern, her eyes wide with hopes of designing gowns for runways around the world. Her brilliance was evident, and her sketches were so creative that they piqued Ridge Forrester's interest. But Luna's heart was as daring as her designs, and her romantic liaisons with Finn Finnegan, the caring doctor and husband of Steffi Forrester, had set off a series of events that led to her demise. Luna was imprisoned on charges of corporate espionage, a crime she insisted she had not committed, due to a series of misunderstandings fostered by Sheila Carter's manipulative plans. The proof, however, was devastating, and the weight of treachery from those she relied on broke her spirit. Luna's condition deteriorated in the weeks before she died. The hard conditions of the prison, along with the mental toll of isolation, had a negative impact on her fragile physique. She had discovered she was pregnant just before her incarceration, a secret she guarded from everyone except Finn, who had promised to support her. But Finn's loyalties was divided between his wife, Steffi, and the woman who carried his child. The news of Luna's pregnancy circulated quickly, causing tensions among the families. Sheila, ever the opportunist, saw the unborn kid as a pawn in her never-ending search for power and redemption, while Luna's estranged father, Bill Spencer, returned to the scene, ready to claim his grandchild as his own. Luna's death came as a shock, causing anguish. The official report cited an overdose, but rumors of foul play persisted among those who knew her well. She had been discovered unresponsive in her cell, her once bright eyes permanently closed, a slight grin lingering as if she had finally found peace. Finn received the news first, delivered by a grim-faced prison official who offered little explanation. Finn's knees weakened as he processed the loss, his thoughts spinning with images of Luna's laughter, loving touch, and the child they'd never have together. Standing by his side, Steffi felt a mixture of sadness and relief, her heart heavy with guilt for the role their stormy marriage had played in Luna's death. When Bill Spencer heard the news, he stormed into the Forrester estate, casting a dark cloud over the grieving family. "She was my daughter," he yelled, his voice filled with anguish. "And that baby is my blood. I'll be damned if I let anyone take her away from me." His remarks were a declaration of war, laying the groundwork for a custody battle pitting him against Finn and Sheila, both driven by their own agendas and plagued by their pasts. Finn, still suffering from Luna's loss, found himself at the eye of the storm. As the child's father, he felt compelled to honor Luna's legacy by raising their daughter, Hope, whom Luna had named in a letter she left behind. The letter, found among her possessions, was a poignant plea to Finn to keep their child safe from the chaos of their world. "Give her the life I never had," Luna wrote, her words tinged with sorrow. Finn gripped the letter to his chest, pledging to fight for Hope, even as Steffi begged him to reconsider. Their marriage, already stressed by Finn's relationship with Luna, teetered on the verge of dissolution as Steffi battled to embrace the child as a member of their family. Sheila Carter, on her part, regarded Hope as a ticket to redemption, or at least a chance to ensure her place among the Forrestos and Spencers. Her reputation as a brilliant manipulator made her a strong opponent, and she wasted no time in spinning a story about herself as the bereaved grandma who deserved the opportunity to nurture Luna's kid. Sheila's allegations were regarded with mistrust, particularly from Steffi, who was all too aware of the evil underneath Sheila's pretended kindness. Nonetheless, Sheila's tenacity was unrelenting, and she used every connection she had to create a case, including enlisting the assistance of a shady lawyer infamous for twisting the law to fit his client's requirements. The custody battle took place in a Los Angeles courtroom, in stark contrast to the lavish world of Forrester Creations. The judge, a severe woman with a reputation for justice, listened as each party made their case. Finn spoke first, his voice steady but full of emotion. He described his relationship with Luna, their shared hopes for their kid, and his determination to provide hope with a stable, loving environment. He accepted his sins and acknowledged the pressure his activities had put on his marriage, but he remained steadfast in his love for hope. Steffi sat silently in the gallery, her face a mask of mixed emotions, torn between supporting her husband and guarding her own heart. Bill's testimony was powerful. He painted a picture of a father who had lost his daughter but was determined to respect her memory. "Luna deserved better," he exclaimed, his voice breaking. "I was not there for her when she needed me, but I will be there for hope. I have the resources, stability, and love to give her everything Luna desired for her." His words were enticing, but his reputation as a cutthroat businessman placed doubt on his intentions. Whispers in the courtroom suggested that Bill regarded hope as a method to secure his legacy, a kid to shape in his image. Sheila's testimony was a lesson in manipulation. Dressed in a demure black suit with her hair pulled back to soften her features, she presented herself as a transformed woman. "I know my past is far from perfect," she confessed, her eyes shining with maybe actual tears. "But Luna was my daughter-in-law and Hope is my granddaughter. I want to show her the love that I could not give Luna. I've changed, and I'm ready to prove it." The judge, who was fully aware of Sheila's criminal record, arched an eyebrow at her statements. Nonetheless, Sheila's lawyer provided a slew of character references meticulously selected to portray her as a redeemed soul. As the trial progressed, the courtroom became a battleground for secrets and deception. Evidence emerged indicating that Luna's death may not have been accidental. A prison guard testified that the night before Luna's death, he saw a mysterious visitor in her cell but was unable to identify the person. The news sent shockwaves across the courtroom, with Finn and Bill trading angry accusations. Sheila maintained an eerie calm, her visage unreadable, heightening suspicions that she knew more than she was revealing. Outside the courtroom, the Forrestos struggled with their own conflicts. Ridge and Brooke, ever the patriarch and matriarch, attempted to mediate between Finn and Steffi, encouraging them to find a way to move forward together. But Steffi's resentment of Luna's memories, along with Finn's commitment to raise Hope, caused a schism that appeared hard to heal. Brooke, who had a past with Bill, begged with him to choose the child's well-being over his own. "This isn't about you, Bill," she remarked quietly during a late-night confrontation. "It's about Hope. Luna would want to be with someone who can provide her serenity." As the trial neared its end, the judge requested a private meeting with Finn, Bill, and Sheila. In a modest, wood-paneled room, she lay out the stakes with unwavering clarity. "This child is not a prize to be won," she stated firmly. "She is a human being who has already lost her mother. Your task is to show who can provide her the life she deserves." The words lingered heavy in the air, forcing each of them to confront their own objectives. Finn recalled Luna's message, Bill of his lost daughter, and Sheila of the redemption she so desperately sought. In an unexpected twist, Finn presented a compromise. He recommended that Hope reside with him and Steffi, while Bill be granted visitation rights as her grandfather. He even extended an olive branch to Sheila, offering monitored visits under stringent guidelines. The offer was a gamble, requiring Finn to believe in the goodness of two people who had shown themselves capable of betrayal. After a long moment, Bill agreed, his pride giving way to the awareness that Hope's well-being came before his own. Sheila, on the other hand, was hesitant, her eyes narrowing as she considered her options. In the end, she agreed, but it felt more like a brief truce than a genuine surrender. The judge's decision validated Finn's request, granting him primary custody with the condition that Bill and Sheila participate. The decision was welcomed with a mixture of relief and trepidation, as everyone concerned was aware that the battle for Hope was far from over. Sheila's surrender felt too easy, and whispers of her previous schemes lingered among those who knew her well. Finn, holding Hope in his arms for the first time since her birth, felt a rush of hope mixed with terror. He stared into her tiny, trusting eyes and pledged to protect her at all costs. In the months that followed, the Forrester, Spencer, and Sharp families navigated a precarious new world. Finn and Steffi fought to restore their marriage, and Hope's presence was both a challenge and a blessing. Bill became a devoted grandfather, and his visits were filled with heartwarming stories about Luna. Sheila, as expected, remained a wild card, with those who feared her influence keeping a tight eye on everything she did. The memory of Luna's death continued to haunt them all, reminding them of the fragility of life and the implications of their decisions. Hope grew up in a loving environment, but also under the shadow of her mother's tragedy. Finn told her stories about Luna's creativity, courage, and dreams, hoping to keep her mother's spirit alive. As Hope took her first steps, said her first words, and began to choose her own path, she became a symbol of resilience in a conflict-ridden globe. The custody battle tore the families apart, but it also drove them to face their weaknesses and fight for something bigger than themselves. In the end, Hope was more than Luna's legacy. It was a beacon of hope for a future in which love triumphed over loss. Luna's death in prison shocked everyone who knew her, sparking a violent and emotional conflict for her newborn child. The news hit like a thunderclap. One moment there was optimism, the next searing grief. Finn, who had adored Luna with gentle devotion, felt the weight of loss overwhelm him. He had hoped to raise his child together, shielding the youngster from a world that now seemed painfully cruel. Bill, ever the calculating force, saw the tragedy as both a source of grief and a chance to gain control over the infant's future. He believed he possessed the means, experience, and family name to offer stability, even though his tactics and objectives were frequently questioned. His involvement in the custody dispute threatens to turn what should have been a private mourning period into an all-out battle of wills. Then there was Sheila, whose grit and unwavering determination had previously made her a formidable opponent. For Sheila, the baby signified more than just a connection to Luna. It was an opportunity to assert herself, intervene, and guarantee that her idea of family and the ties that bound it was preserved. She handled the hallways of influence and passion with a deftness few could match, understanding that in this intimate conflict, every whisper, glance, and argument could shift the balance. As the days passed, Finn felt himself torn between grief and resolve. Every tear he shed for Luna ignited a flame of purpose. He remembered her laughter, the gentle way she confided in him, and the hopes she had expressed for their kid. He would not let her memory fade or her child grow up without the love Luna envisioned. But the courtroom and negotiation tables loomed ahead, teeming with keen brains and sharper goals. Bill's strategy was meticulous and precise. He gathered allies, examined legal possibilities, and strategized every interaction as if the child's fate were a chessboard, with each move intended to maximize his advantage. Despite his public appearance of confidence and charm, there were underlying tensions. Despite all of his resources, he was not immune to Finn's raw feeling, and in moments when the weight of loss softened his resolve, he saw the weakness that loss can show in even the strongest. Sheila's approach was unique, but equally formidable. She relied on personal relationships, appealing to people who could influence the outcome. Her language was a blend of worry and clever manipulation, casting doubt where it served her purpose and providing reassurance where it would disarm. Sheila lived in the shadows of sadness and optimism, employing every emotional angle to make her case fascinating, persuasive, and difficult to dismiss. Amidst this tangled web of emotion and ambition, the baby's well-being became the primary, albeit frequently ignored, worry. Friends and distant relatives watched with concern, unsure who could provide the most caring environment. Each visit, each chat about the child, held the weight of finality, as if each interaction could permanently affect a life that had already suffered unspeakable grief. Finn clung to the glimmers of hope left by Luna's spirit amidst the chaos. Her letters, recorded messages, and ephemeral memories served as his guideposts. He envisioned a life in which the child might grow up surrounded by love, free of manipulation and struggle, but he realized the road ahead was laden with difficulties. The law, public opinion, and Bill and Sheila's unwavering determination all loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. In this emotional crucible, alliances altered and goals emerged. Moments of compassion collided with brutal confrontations, and the custody battle became more than just a legal issue. It was a war for identity, legacy, and the promise of what Luna had envisioned for her child's future. Every day brought new disclosures, unexpected interventions, and emotional high points that left everyone reeling. The drama unfolded with the intensity that only a soap opera could deliver. Every glance was significant, every word spoken had possible implications, and every decision had the ability to alter the course of a young life. In the end, while the conclusion remained uncertain, one thing was certain. Luna's death had set off a struggle that was as much about love as it was about power, and no one would escape unscathed. The courtroom was heated, a quiet battleground where hearts and ambitions clashed. Finn cradled the small blanket-wrapped bundle Luna had left behind, feeling the baby's tiny body like a link to the lady he had loved. Bill's argument and Sheila's plea appeared to ricochet off the walls, leaving echoes of pain, longing, and determination. However, in the midst of the legal fighting, an unexpected event occurred. The judge, a figure of measured authority, appeared to recognize the delicate threads of love and loss that connected them all. Finn's gentle honesty and deep commitment to Luna and their child shone through. Bill's polished speech, while remarkable, exposed flaws where actual connection was lacking. Sheila's passion, while passionate, sometimes exceeded the delicate balance required for a child's life. In a moment of clarity, the judge ruled based not only on the law, but also on his understanding of human emotions. Finn was given primary custody, with Bill and Sheila receiving structured visitation. The room exhaled together, expressing relief, disappointment, and amazement. Finn hugged the baby close, murmuring Luna's name quietly, pledging to remember her with every smile, lullaby, and step in their shared future. The war had ended, but the road of love, healing, and perseverance had only begun.